name is Dane Rose, and the purpose of this idea worth action is to empower us in Western business cultures to reclaim our humanity by an act of vulnerable protest. Growing up as an American man and an entrepreneur who has run his own business since age 17, I have constantly run into this refrain: don't talk about this. It's not professional. When I see a couple who is a client who is having difficulty, and I'm concerned about their marriage, I'm concerned that my contracting project could contribute to a destabilization in some format of their marriage rather than a strengthening, an alarm goes off in my head. And I think, I'm a contractor for you, but you're husband and wife. I'm providing a beautiful outer environment for you. But that's not as important as the way you feel about one another when you get into bed at night and spend time together. When it's all said and done, your marriage and the way you feel about one another is more important. And this is not expected. Occasionally, I have watched my social status go down as I take an interest in the emotions and the feelings of the people I'm working with. Culturally, we're taught. I've been taught that as a man, as a professional, and as a contractor, that my job is to mask my humanity, mask my emotions, mask who I am, and provide professional service, which is to do what I say on time with the least amount of personal intimacy required. The only problem is I spend a third of my life, 8 hours a day, interacting in a professional context. And I am a human being. Over time, I have gotten clearer and clearer that I am not willing to partition my emotions, my feelings, my humanity, my convictions for money. And that I want to find clients who appreciate this value and attitude. And so there's a lot of little things that we can do. What we're talking about is reclaiming a third of our lives. And for each of you, it may be different. I'm self-employed. I'm the boss in my company, of course. And I have a personal one-on-one relationship with clients. And there is absolutely no doubt that in traditional business environments, particularly large corporate environments, that there can be disastrous career consequences to mixing business and pleasure, humanity and business, work and friendship, work and being a human being. The consequences can be severe. But I am not willing any longer to downplay my humanity to protect the stereotypic dogma of what it is to be professional. I just left a message on my visa preparations voicemail. And there's a couple of acts of rebellion, of playful countering that can be done. Now, one of them is in the area when one is the customer. This is a good area to practice. And so as I go into different business environments and people say, "How are you doing, sir?" etc., etc., my response is to actually tell them how I'm doing. Well, I'm really excited about this new idea. My head feels, really foggy right now. I'm feeling a loneliness and a grief, maybe 8 out of 10. My body's in pretty good shape. And I'm really grateful that I have a woman in my life that I can love. How about you? And just that act of defiance, the act of stepping outside the boundary from the social contract, from the social lie that says, "How are you? I'm fine." The "how are you" is not sincere, and the "fine" is not honest. It's just sound. When one person reclaims that territory and answers, "This is how I am," that is an act of redemption. It is an act of rebellion. It is an act of defiance of the norm that says you cannot be a human being. Who you are and what you feel is not important. It is your money and your image and your prestige that is important here. The rest is just protocol. That's not who we are as human beings. That is a disgusting outrage on what is possible in our daily interactions for a third of our lives. And to challenge this is to challenge the most important false god of our culture, which is money. In Christian traditions, which occasionally give me some insight into something, although I'm not a Christian, there's the metaphor of the golden calf. And there's the statement that when you worship the symbol of value more than what's valuable itself, it is a path to destruction, a path towards evil, a path towards the disintegration of life, the dissolution of complexity and beauty inside and out. That there's a breaking down. And when we honor the truth of who we are, the true core of value, we create life. We heal pain. We love ourselves and others. And this is our journey. Going back to that area, by monetizing the culture, money becomes a symbol of potential well-being. I can buy a drink with this money and enjoy an interaction with this money. I can go on a trip and spend time with my family. I can buy a house and spend time with people I care about. It is a potential source of well-being. But it is just that, potential. There's plenty of us who use our money to isolate, to manage our addictions, to be addicted to money. And in this context, pursuing money at the expense of the people we interact with is a joke. It's a joke to interact with people to get money in a way that isn't fun, because we're actually destroying real value to create the potential for value in the future. And it's time to reclaim that. I just sent a message to my visa preparation specialist in which I talked to him about some of my rough edges in the interactions, how panicky I can feel when my government, with no regard for the organic unfolding of the love that I have for my partner, creates a $4,000 visa process over a 6-month period for her just to come and visit me in my home in the United States. And there's no humanity in that structure. There's no allowance for what she's feeling, what she's needing, what I'm feeling, what I'm needing. There's no communication. It's not human. And I feel terrified that the love in my life is in jeopardy. Because for those of you that don't know love languages, some people experience love primarily through touch. That's their primary language. Well, then when you're separate, you don't experience that. Some people, such as myself, experience quality time as the primary language. And when you're separate, you don't experience it. When you don't experience love because of regulations applied by your taxpayer money to your government, it's evil. Your money is being used to dissolve what you value most. It's used to weaken love rather than strengthen it. This is wrong. This is not human. And we've gone along with far too many of these things. So what can we do? Talking with my visa preparation, I talked about these feelings. I talked about how this helplessness that I feel translates into micromanaging or being very particular. And in doing that, I also apologized. This is not really about you. It's not a rational thing here. It's just you're handling the paperwork that's controlling how much love is in my life. And it's not right that you're in that position, but you are. We live in a world where the paper is more important than the love. That's not right. But we're in that world. And it's not right that I would be thrown in jail using my taxpayer money if I do what's right, which is to stay close to my sweetheart, for her and for me. That's not right. By talking about feelings, a number of things will happen. Some people will disappear. Beautifully disappear. The crowd will thin. And there will be someone left standing. It may be your soul. It may be your spirit. It may be the joy of being the person you desire and always wanted to be, there will be someone standing there, even if it is ourself. But there will also be a few others in different situations, in different environments. Some part of us is starting to wake up as a humanity and recognize we matter, which means in the triad of humanity, of heart, mind, and body, that our heart matters as much as our body and our mind on this life, in this planet, and in this earth. So how can you take this into your life? You might start with a stranger who asks you how you're doing. You can do this in a couple of ways. You can say, would you like a long answer or a short answer? And then respond accordingly and talk about the positives and the negatives. You can write a diary to let yourself know that your feelings and your thoughts matter. This is what happened today, and this is what I thought about it, and this is what I felt about it, and this is what I'm going to do differently. You can, as I just did with an attorney, I was recommended to 5 different attorneys by one overworked attorney, and I sent all 5 of them an email describing who I am, what's important to me, and what goals I'm trying to create, and then asking if they relate to the goals and have time and interest in helping me. In that way, fusing personality, objective values, and money and expertise. It's not one or the other. I'm looking for someone who cares about these things, who's interested in these areas, because I'm not willing to spend a third of my life in an emotional vacuum where I put a good chunk of who I am aside to be someone that isn't natural, to fit into an unhealthy culture. Join me in reclaiming your humanity.